Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Crook County Board of Commissioners meeting. Today is Wednesday, March the 5th, 2025, and it's 9:00 a.m. Mr. Don Perfili, would you give us a pledge of the allegiance, please? Lead us in it. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Any public comments first on the agenda? Anyone have anything? I believe we do. Yes.
Sure, there's a
Yeah.
couple empty seats here.
Yeah.
There you go.
Thanks, Adam. No public. How about online? Anyone want to make a public comment? Raise your hand. Seeing none, we'll move on. Consent agenda.
Okay, seeing as if you're wondering, Seth is back in Washington, D.C. He's attending the National Association of Counties, and I'm pretty sure he attended the State of the Union last night. So that is why he is not here, and I don't see him on our technology. So I will be making the motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
And Brian will second that.
Okay,
Any discussion?
no discussion.
No discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Hermrick, aye.
Barney, aye. Next is the discussion items of approval of funding for the facility rentals at the Crook County Fairgrounds, Tri-County and Oregon High School Rodeo State Finals. Bobby?
Morning. Thank you for having us again. We do appreciate you guys taking the time to listen to what we have to say. Oregon High School Rodeo is on the growth, and particularly from some of the things that we have going on are our Tri-County High School Rodeo, which is going to be May 2nd through the 4th. I have three members of the Tri-County High School Rodeo Club here. That happens to be the largest club in the state of Oregon, so they are also on the growth. They will be producing and conducting that rodeo on May 2nd through the 4th. The Oregon State High School Rodeo Finals is scheduled for June 11th through the 14th. We, again, have been very fortunate to work with Casey and the fairgrounds. Our crew loves Crook County, mainly because you guys appreciate what we're doing and the Western way of lifestyle. We feel like we fit in this community, and we get a lot of support and appreciate that for our kids. Our scholarship auction last year raised over $50,000, and that helps the kids to obviously go on and further their education beyond Oregon High School Rodeo. Many of them go on in college rodeo and seek degrees beyond even a 2-year degree. Sometimes they get 4-year degrees. A lot of them also go to trade schools, and we support that highly as well. With that, I'm going to let the girls talk a little bit. You can ask them any questions that they want, and we can move on from there.
Hi, I'm Tenley Willard. I am the president of the Tri-County High School Rodeo Club, and I just wanted to say that we appreciate you having us here today. And this is Ryan Bafford, our vice president. And I just want to say it helps us out a lot with our rodeo to help put it on and spend our money towards other things like good bullfighters and good stock and pickup men and judges and things like that. and we just appreciate it very much. Do you have anything to say?
What kind of events do you participate in?
I do barrels, breakaway, in team roping and goat tying.
Okay, how about you?
I barrel race, pull bend, sometimes breakaway rope, but that's about it.
Okay, well, that's enough.
That's
You
quite a
guys,
bit.
yeah, that's quite a bit. What do you guys plan to do when you graduate high school?
I want to go on to college and college rodeo and then get a business degree and then go to cosmetology school and become a hairstylist.
Okay, how about you?
I'm hoping to continue to do rodeo, but I'm also wanting to get into the welding career.
Good for you.
Great.
Good for you. All right, I'm glad to see you breaking into to a kind of a man-dominated career. I think you'll be good at that. Good. Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, thanks for coming.
And I have one more thing to add. Oregon High School Rodeo. Like I said, we appreciate Crook County and everything that you've done for us. We are hitting huge roadblocks because we have 7 different rodeos throughout the state. Before they come to the state finals, these kids go through these rodeos and they try to qualify to be the top 20 in their events to come to state finals. Many of our clubs are having trouble finding facilities that will actually support Oregon High School Rodeo. And basically they've outpriced Oregon High School Rodeo because we're obviously a high school age sport. And what, for instance, in the Portland area, that club now comes over to Sisters and produces their rodeo in Sisters because there is not a facility in the Portland area that wants to host a high school rodeo club. So again, we appreciate everything you guys have done for us. We appreciate Crook County and the community. And we hope that you feel our impact when 180 families drive in here and, buy fuel, get groceries, and support the local businesses. So thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate all the youngsters that come in and participate in the events, and Crook County is it's a ranching community, and it has a long history of rodeos and ranching and farming, and it's great to keep that tradition going.
I like when the rodeos are here that when you drive down the main drive, you see a lot of people in cowboy hats. Too bad we don't see that every day. That would be perfect, but I like to see all you guys, and like I say, a day with the streets filled with cowboy hats is a good day. So thank you. So I know that we have already accommodated for this funding, so I make a motion to approve. Do I have to make this approval of the funding for facility rental at Crook County Fairgrounds for the Tri-County and Oregon High School Rodeo State Finals?
Second. Motion's been made. Any discussion?
I don't have anything to discuss.
Nope.
Okay,
Motion's been made and second. All in favor, say aye.
Hermrick, aye.
Barney, aye.
Thank you guys for coming today.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Okay, next, Highland Subdivision Water District.
Morning. My
Morning.
name is Rick Merritt. I'm Vice President of the Highland Subdivision Water District. I'm here basically just to inform the commissioners that we are looking very closely at a state of failure. I cannot get anyone to step up to work on the board. I posted it twice. At this point, basically what's happening is due to the extra work that's become involved to run this district. It's brought tremendous more time, effort, and hours into the job of which we were all volunteers. And I personally am getting ready to move out of the district, so I won't be in it anymore. I've had 2 people resign, basically because of one with a heart problem and another person because they were just older and just can't do the job anymore. I've posted twice now. I haven't got a call. No one has stepped up, come to the meetings, any types of concerns. So basically, I'm just, due to the rules of the SDAO, I'm letting the commission know that. And I'm hoping that we can get some kind of assistance and possibly get some people to step up to the board somehow, some way. I'm just about out of clues how to do it. So
Well,
that's about where we're at.
Okay, well, thank you for coming in and giving us this information and understand the hardships that you're going through. We will, as a county, take this and discuss it and look into it and what needs to happen and certainly get back with you.
I appreciate you coming
You need
in.
my contact information.
I think that we have most of it.
I
Yeah,
think it's
we-
on your agenda item request. We have, yeah.
Yeah.
But your phone number and your email is on there. We really do thank you for coming in. We have to look into it though.
Thank you, ma'am. And I'm also the registered agent, so.
Okay, perfect.
for your time.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
coming in today.
How many total people on that district, sir? Users, how
Our
many users?
homes, yeah.
Sorry.
How many users are on the district? Okay, great. Thank you. Tim, recommendations to the Natural Resource Advisory Committee.
Good morning, Tim DeBoot, Coordinator of Crook County's Natural Resource Policy. Following the county advertising to fill a position on the county's Natural Resource Advisory Committee, we received 2 qualified applications. The committee met Monday at noon via Zoom meeting to review and discuss those applications. The committee felt that both applications were very qualified. In fact, so qualified they hated only having to pick one. And so at their next meeting, they're going to talk about amending their bylaws to increase committee membership. So we may be back in front of you with a bylaw change to do that. But after much discussion, they did make a recommendation, and they recommended that Cliff Kaiser be reappointed for a 4-year term to expire December 31, 2028.
Great, thank you, Tim.
I make a motion to approve Order 2025-06 in the matter of the appointment to the Natural Resource Advisory Committee of Cliff Kaiser into a 4-year term expiring December 31st, 2028.
And I second. Any discussion?
No discussion.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve order 2025-06. All in favor, say aye.
Hermrick, aye.
Barney, aye. So it passes. Egg Extension District Board, Rebecca, good morning.
Good morning. I also met on Monday via Zoom with the Ag Extension Service District Board. And we had 2 positions that were being discussed. We have 3 positions that are open, and we had 2 applicants that had reapplied for their positions. That was John Daler and Janice Flagel. They both were discussed by the board, and it was unanimously agreed upon that they would be recommend to you that they would like for them to be reappointed. And those positions are also 3-year terms. And so discussing with Sarah, they're continue from a January 31st term and with a 3-year term also. So that was the recommendation by the Extension Advisory Board. We still have 1 position that is open, and I did discuss with Sarah to ask if they can continue to list that and advertise for that additional position that we have open.
And how long will that advertisement be? Will it go again now?
Once it goes out, we haven't sent it out just yet.
Mhm.
We wanted to wait for today to find out what we were also maybe going to advertise for. But once it goes out, it has to run for 30 days.
Okay.
But it'll be going out soon. We have a couple of other boards and committees who are also terming out in June. So we are coming closer to the summer ones that are terming out. Some folks in Wolf for June 1st, and then we have a couple, I think, at the end of June. So we'll be lining those up as well.
So I make a motion to approve order 2025-07 in the matter of the appointment to the Ag Extension Service District Advisory Board of position 5, John Daler, for a 3-year term expiring December 31st, 2027, and position 7, Janice Flagel, a 3-year term expiring December 31st, 2027.
I second. Motion been made and second. Any discussion?
Discussion.
No discussion. All in favor of motion to pass order 2025, say aye.
Hermrick, aye.
Barney, aye. Passed.
Rebecca.
Thank you.
Yes, thanks, Rebecca.
James here. Oh,
Commissioners, the next item, James is occupied at nuisance abatement property at the moment, so he asked me to step in for him on this one. This is a janitorial procurement for janitorial services for all the county's facilities. This is an intermediate procurement under our code, which means 3 informal bids are required. James went out and got 4, as you see here in the packet. As an intermediate procurement, the contract is to be awarded to proposer whose proposal will best serve the interest of the county. I'm looking at the 4 bids. The lowest cost bid is from Central Oregon Janitorial. They are currently providing janitorial services for us at the Justice Center. And James has been very impressed with their service and their responsiveness and their adaptability. And so they are the lowest cost provider in this, and they are also meet the other factors that is important to the county to get this job done. And so James's recommendation is to award the contract to Central Oregon Janitorial. The start date on that is pretty quick. We're turning things around and terminating with our current provider. So, are there any questions? The contract's in the packet. I think Sarah has thank you for bringing up the contract in the packet late, Sarah. There should be a fully signed copy or a executed copy by the vendor.
Yeah, no, I reviewed it.
Yeah.
Good with it.
I have no questions. I know James has given this a lot of thought and
Yes.
put a lot of time into it. And I know he had everyone in and looked at all of this. So I make a motion to approve the contract for Central Oregon Janitorial Services LLC to start at the specified time on this contract.
Brian seconds. Motion's been made and second. Any more discussion?
No more discussion.
No discussion. All in favor of the service contract approval for Central Oregon Janitorial Service, say aye.
Guy.
Barney, aye. So moved.
I'll just add real quickly, since this is not a full-blown RFP, there's no bid protest period, so we're good to go.
Thank you, James.
Thanks. Last one, discussion on proposing an amendment to the intergovernmental agreement with the city of Prineville. Eric.
Commissioners, you have a great deal of material in your agenda packet, so let me start with a little bit of background. In 2021, the legislature passed a bill which would change the way in which secure rural schools fundings from the federal government would be allocated to qualifying local governments in Oregon. The goal of this bill was to avoid a type of deduction that would be imposed upon funds allocated to local governments in Oregon when those funds pass from the federal government to the state and then down to the counties. In short, what the bill would allow is for the qualifying recipient counties to form one of 3 different types of other government agencies, which could instead receive those funds. The 3 types of agencies were a road district under Chapter 371, a special road district under Chapter 451, or an intergovernmental entity formed under Chapter 190 of the Oregon Revised Statutes. The hope was that by doing so, that a substantially larger portion of funds would be eligible to be spent on qualifying uses. Like a lot of other jurisdictions, Crook County investigated this and formed what was called the Crook County Road Agency, an intergovernmental entity formed under Chapter 190. To form an intergovernmental entity, it requires the participation of at least 2 other existing local governments. In Crook County's case, the county approached the city of Prineville to see if they would be willing to participate in forming this entity, and they agreed. You have in your agenda packet the intergovernmental agreement. June last year, the county and our sister jurisdictions, Jefferson, Deschutes, and Klamath County, received message from the state office saying that the state had been informed that the federal government believed that the allocations would not be deducted. Excuse me, the allocations which would hopefully not be deducted would be deducted because the federal government believed that the formation of the qualifying entities was imperfect. The 4 counties got together and filed a joint response, provided it to the state. The state thereafter communicated with the federal government. Later that month, the state asked for additional information. The counties provided a joint response. And essentially, and I'm paraphrasing, you've read the response, it's quite large. The central question is whether the entities formed by the 4 counties were independent of the counties. For the reasons described in the joint response, we believe the answer is clearly yes. The Deschutes, Jefferson, and Crook County formed an intergovernmental entity. Klamath County formed a special road district under Chapter 451. Those are legally distinct entities. They have their own obligations. They have, for instance, their own registration documents from the Internal Revenue Service. And again, in the case of an intergovernmental entity, that cannot be formed by simply one government. It is not a sock puppet. It is a entity formed in participation with a second or potentially more public entity. We have not heard anything since the end of June from either the state or from the federal government, from the Department of Interior, in response to the information that we have provided. The last communication we received was at the end of June, in which the Department of Interior wrote that they were going to provide to Crook County, and we assume the other counties received similar messages, all of the funds that were not in dispute, and that they were going to examine the responses that were provided and see if they agreed that the remaining funds could be distributed. None of the 4 counties have heard anything since that late June communication. So the question, I think, for the Board of Commissioners is, at this juncture, is there interest in going to the city of Prineville and proposing an amendment to the formation document of the Crook County Road Agency in the hope of addressing the apparent concern of the Department of the Interior that they feel that the Crook County Road Agency is somehow still not sufficiently independent of the county. What that might entail, and there are potentially a number of different modifications that could be contemplated, is an alteration in the constituency of the road agency's board. Currently, the road agency's board would be comprised of the 3 members of the Crook County Board of Commissioners. Now, it is not unusual for members of Board of Commissioners to also serve as board members of other agencies. Just as an example, I believe that the county has, for many years, had a board member serving on the board of COIC, but no one is saying COIC is nevertheless a sock puppet of Crook County. Who would serve as that new board would be something that we would ask the city for their input on. You could ask for volunteers like you do, say, for NRAC or other agencies. you could propose, for instance, that the board be constituted to have more members, not just 3, and they might include members delegated by the city of Prineville, in addition to the county. I anticipate that the city is probably not going to have a great deal of pushback on who constitutes the board. There are other provisions in that intergovernmental agreement, which I think the city is very keen on keeping. But on this, I think the city is very likely to be willing to work with the county. And then it's just a question of how would the new board be constituted. Our office would draft up the proposed amendment to that formation agreement and send it to the city's attorney for their review. And hopefully there'd be a quick turnaround on that. Do you have any questions for me?
No, I don't have any. And personally, I would like to pursue it. There's a considerable amount of money that's involved in this that I do believe Crook County is entitled to, and is not receiving it. So I would like to move forward with discussions with the city to see how we can shape this IGA that meets all the requirements that are necessary to allow that money to be distributed.
No, I agree with Brian.
So I'll reach out to the city's attorney, see if we can set up a conference call. I'll run through some potential options with him, see if he anticipates the city is going to have strong feelings one way or the other. And then hopefully we will be able to draft an amendment to that intergovernmental agreement soon and get that in front of both governing bodies for execution.
Great, thank you.
You don't need any sort of emotion or anything.
I don't think at
Our
this juncture,
direction is
yeah.
no.
You know, obviously when the amendment is presented, we'll need a
Then
motion then.
yes. Okay. Thank you, Eric.
Yep, thank you. Manager's report.
Morning, commissioners. I just have a couple quick updates for the board this morning. I just want to first off thank Jamie Berger in our finance department for all the work she's putting into the budget right now. We have a number of budget meetings scheduled this week with all of and next week with all of our department heads. It takes a significant amount of work on her part. It also takes a significant amount of work on our department heads to prepare for these conversations. But I also want to thank the department heads for all of the effort they are putting in. The department heads we have met with to date have done a great job going through their budgets and working to really be granular and focus on where we can save some money as we move forward through the next couple of expected kind of tough budget years. So I want to thank everybody for their hard work on the budget this year so far. And if you're looking for me over the next couple of weeks, I'll probably be in one of those budget meetings. But things are moving along with the budget. We're kind of sticking right to that budget calendar that was approved previously. Just a quick note on community and public engagement. Tomorrow we have scheduled a meeting of the elected officials compensation committee to appoint a third member to that committee. The committee will subsequently meet to make a recommendation regarding elected officials compensation. And then just a final note, I continue to receive some legislative notes from department heads and others in the community about concern regarding potential legislation. So we will continue to bring those forward as they come forward. I do not have anything specific for you this morning, but we're continuing to track that. And I will update as I have an opportunity to kind of focus on some of the more recent ones I've received. That's all I have for you this morning. Do you have any questions or anything for me?
No questions.
No questions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Commissioner report.
Commission report.
So I got up at 4:30 this morning to be at the office at 6:30 this morning to testify for the legislature for grasshoppers, which was House Bill 3487. And much to my dismay, they started talking about salmon. And so right now they're probably talking about my grasshoppers, which kind of disappoints me, but you have 48 hours, so I will go back to the office and write my scintillating grasshopper testimony and be sure to go ahead and submit it. March 18th, we are having a grasshopper meeting at the Pall Mall Club in Paulina. The Oregon Department of Agriculture will be there. It's going to be at noon. I'm going to provide sandwiches. I figured the guys can go out and feed cows and get the chores done. And then we're going to come in and they're going to answer questions and try to meet ranchers. And hopefully we're going to get some funding and try to get ahead of the grasshopper problem before they hit the eastern part of the county. I'm also tracking, I became aware Vicki Breeze Iverson is a sponsor of two bills. One is House Bill 3349. And what that is about is if the state forestry has an older vehicle or older equipment that applies for firefighting, that it can be released to our RPAs. And as you were aware, this last summer, it was post Paulina. The fires were started by lightning on federal ground, but it was our post Paulina range protection that was the first guys out there on all three of those fires. So they were very important that we can get a hold of that equipment because ranchers, we can make stuff go a long ways longer than the Department of Forestry. So I'm gonna be writing a letter in support of that. And we'll probably bring that for a vote next week when Seth's back. There's another one that is House Bill 3350. Again, Vicki Breeze Iverson is supporting that along with others. And what that is for funding to go to our range protection agencies for the same reason. They have identified that in the state of Oregon, it is our range protection agencies that are our first responders. And a lot of times we are the ones that stop the fires before they even get started. So it's kind of nice to realize that they're recognizing the people out there on the lines. So my next part, I'm kind of being bad. I'm shoving this off to John, who is going to address the next part of my commissioner report.
You talking about the letter?
The letter, and also if you would talk about the appeal for the wildfire.
I'll start with the letter. So we've drafted a letter to the Joint Committee on Ways and Means. They are considering, I heard possibly on Friday, the funding for DEQ for the neighborhood sampling plan for the groundwater issue. And so there's, I believe, I think it's $150,000 to make up for the first test and $100,000 for the next test. The ask is $250,000 total. I don't think the letter's in the packet, Sarah, 'cause it was pretty recent. So I will go ahead and read it on the record. You'd like?
Please do.
So it's addressed to the committee. The purpose of this letter is to thank the state for its efforts to date in helping our citizens better understand the health concerns involved with the contaminants in their private wells and to express our strong support for additional funding to perform another round of sampling and data collection. The initial Mal Foster report made it very clear that additional studies are needed to better understand the problem. Numerous county residents are suffering through dangerously elevated levels of manganese and arsenic, among other contaminants. While the sampling plan has been instrumental in providing information to the residents and data for the agencies, more is needed. The county urges the committee to approve DEQ's request for $250,000 in total funding for this effort. The money will provide a second round of private well sampling, which will help account for seasonal or other variations in groundwater composition. The two studies, together with Knife River's groundwater assessment and hopefully the larger sampling and analysis plan, will all work together to bring light to both the health concerns and paths to restore the quality of these aquifers. Crook County remains committed to working collaboratively with our state partners to protect this vital resource. By supporting additional sampling, we can transform our current challenges into comprehensive solutions that will safeguard the health and future of our community.
So I would make a motion that we sign and approve this letter and get it out right like today. This is the proper motion. I make a motion to approve the letter for support for further study of groundwater quality concerns in Crook County.
I second. Any further discussion?
No discussion. This will be sent to Senator Fred. Well, this is a little discussion. It'll be sent to Senator Fred, and forgive me, I wasn't good at phonics, Gerard, Representative Rob Noyes, and members of the Joint Committee on Ways and Means Subcommittee on Capital Construction. As for the vote, I'm ready.
Okay, so all in favor, say aye.
Hermrick, aye.
Barney, aye. So moved.
Okay, next on the wildfire map appeal, or hazard map appeal. Previously, the commissioners gave Seth Crawford and I authority to put together an appeal. This appeal is due on Friday. We have a draft of the appeal ready to go. It's going to include the cover page, the standard cover page, along with the appeal arguments. We are appealing on behalf of a specific county property as well as all properties in Crook County. The gist of the letter of the appeal is that the map is not detailed enough to give a property ownership level view of wildfire hazards, and the factors are applied incorrectly, and there's some due process arguments in there that basically we don't even know what we were supposed to be fighting against because it's kind of a black box as far as how those numbers are created. And so, like I said, we have a draft. It's in front of Seth to review, and we should be ready to go to file that by Friday.
Thank you very much, John. I did a really good report through. Okay.
Yeah, I saw your email and I read your draft and I approve of your draft. So I think that's a good job.
Thank you.
And the exhibits that went along with it. So anything else?
That's it.
Okay, public comment.
I'm Julie, and I live on Green Valley Road.
Put the microphone closer to you so everybody can hear.
I'm Julie Thompson and I live on Green Valley Road.
Perfect.
And I first off want to say thank you for the surprise for the additional funding for the testing, because that's amazing.
We haven't got it yet.
I know.
We're asking.
You're
That's all we're
trying.
doing. We're
You're
asking.
trying.
Okay.
So thank you. I
Okay.
appreciate that. That's great. I do, we're waiting to get a report done from Jim Newton, the geologist, that shows a conclusion basically of, it was my understanding of the first round of testing. But we need about $50,000 to get that done. So, we've asked before, I think, for help from the county for financial, and we've been told no. There's no money available to do that. As residents of the county, we've spent thousands of dollars testing our own water multiple times for different, various reasons, sending those test results in. They're not good enough. We have to have the state come back and test it to prove that we're not lying, I guess. And it's cost us a lot of money. All of it gets very expensive. So to ask to try to collect that money from people in our area, it's very hard to get them to put more money in because we're not getting very far in our mission. So they're starting, they don't want to put up another $1,000 each or whatever the number turns out to be with false hope again. So we're wondering if the county would be able to help us with that. I went through the budget diligently this weekend, all 246 pages of that budget. It was amazing reading. And I also read job descriptions of the specialists that the county has that possibly could help us in environmental health as well as natural resources. And I'm wondering if those are possibilities. I have a lot of bullet points typed out. I also have pictures for you of our water at our house this last weekend when we flushed our pipes, because we're spending 11 grand tomorrow to put in a water filtration system. So hopefully we can save our plumbing. That dollar amount does not even guarantee that it will take the manganese down to a drinkable level. It may cost additional to put in additional filters to get that fixed. So I have pictures of it. It will gross you out if, it's, and I have this if anybody wants it with all of my questions on there.
Give it to John there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. So, when I read through the county budget, I did find, on the front page of that there is, funding in departments, and that the environmental health department their program is responsible for mitigating and limiting the spread of disease by making sure places where people eat, drink, play, and live and work are safe from preventable and harmful environmental hazards. And the Natural Resources Committee is, wrong page. Their county resources are managed effectively, reflecting the interests of the community, but they also look at water. Water is one of their things, water, solar, all these different things. So, the county budget shows that they have $194,000 for environmental health. Health and Human Services have an estimated beginning fund of 2.118 million. Most of which is grant money. So, the other major revenues are 500,000 from the general fund and 400,000 for miscellaneous. So of that 500,000 that is for the general fund, or the 400,000 that is for miscellaneous, is that a possibility to get that 50,000 to pay the geologist that can do a report to sum this up, to know further if it is, is it really the mine? I mean, we all kind of know what we think because of looking at the maps and the water and the dates, but if we can get him to put together this report, it would be wonderful. So, is that something the county could help with?
Do you want to answer? Or do you want me to answer?
Commissioners, before you answer that, I think
Yeah.
it might be important to know, and I didn't mention this before, but speaking with DEQ, if they get the funding on Friday, they are required to spend that money on these tests by the end of May. And so they get the money on Friday. It's going to be a really quick turnaround with the second round of testing.
And I think there is your answer, and that is your finite answer, because once again, we're held by the state. They're kind of your overlaying factor. And the other thing with the county is we have to play fair. So we have to be fair, and we have a mining person and we have you guys. And I think we've tried to be as fair as we can, and that's a hard line. And so I agree with John's statement. I think if we can get this funding and we can do these tests, that will tell us a lot more. And it will be from the state, which will be our best argument. I don't know. I can't really say much more, but I think we are moving in a very positive direction. I don't know, John, if we can say much more, or.
This is kind of our way of helping, is working with the DEQ and trying to get these funds, because those funds would be very difficult to come from the county.
Yeah.
Just to be honest.
Yeah, it would be very,
So I've heard that there's supposed to be a meeting with Knife River this afternoon, a private meeting with the commissioners and
Wow.
Knife River.
wow, you
I-
guys have a good intel.
It's a
Okay,
small town.
okay.
And my question is, how is that okay, I guess? I mean, we have asked multiple times for them, to address this issue, but a private meeting.
Well, how is it okay that I've met with Adam and Karen? How is it okay that I've met with Dick? How is it okay that
But
Dawn,
you're
I mean,
so non-transparent.
it's kind of, you're kind of looking at, I mean, it's a hard thing. So it's basically the same sort of a basis, is how is it okay, that's kind of where you're putting it at. So they've asked for a meeting, and that is their, that's their right.
Right.
So it's not, I mean, I understand it's private, but you have to think of it in context. If you, Julie, came to me and wanted a meeting and you wanted a meeting with John and I, we would have a meeting and you're more than welcome for that meeting. So you have to put it in the context of how that is. So yes, it's Knife River and I understand your feelings towards them, but you have to put that in the context of fairness of all. Why should they be excluded from a meeting when our door is open for all of you? I'm just, that's
I get
fair enough.
that.
Yeah, and so more importantly, I want to stress that not all of your information is correct because it isn't a public meeting, nor is it the commissioners. This is a meeting between Commissioner Hermrick and Knife River. I'm not in that meeting.
And the attorneys. Well, not an
Not an
attorney.
attorney.
He's actually, he's actually our new community director. So I should not call him our attorney. So yes.
Well, I would love if we could get DEQ, Knife River, everybody in the same room, but we couldn't seem to make.
And Julie, so would I. But that isn't going to happen, if what is it, there's a, if wishes or whatever, but
Right.
yeah, there's a saying about it. I don't know
On
what it
hand,
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it.
But I wish, but again, in fairness, like I say, if you wanted a meeting with myself and John, that would be made available to you. That's a transparent thing. So this is just take out that they're Knife River. It's just, we're extending the same courtesy on both sides. And again, and I do agree with John, once this funding, and I think we're going to get that funding, I think we'll have a lot more answers. And I do believe we're working in a positive direction that you guys will be happy with.
One more question.
Okay.
Do we have an update on when Knife River is going to allow a third party to test their water?
John,
The third party is testing their water. Their groundwater assessment is being done by Hudspeth Land and Water. So it's been a third party this entire time. Well, at least as far as the Ogami enforcement testing.
yeah.
Okay.
As far as we can, yeah. Okay, thank you very much though for coming today.
Yep, thanks, Julie. Next, public comment. Mr. Zimmerly, please step up to the mic.
You still have to say who you are at the mic, even though we know who you are.
I'm Dick Zimmerly. We know.
Yeah, we know.
I'm aware that the county is going to hire an outside counsel to address this issue. Is that correct?
Yes.
And the thing to back up what Julie was talking about, Mr. Newton has been involved in this thing from the beginning, even the beginning of the Woodward permit. He has a lot of knowledge and a lot of information to put together a report from the beginning. And he's already mapped all of the tests that the locals, the folks have done on their own. And now he has the information, the latest tests from the state. And to put that in a report that has to be completed, it's going to take probably about $50,000 to get that accomplished. If you're bringing in an outside counsel, somebody that has to study that, it's going to cost a lot of money and a lot of time. Jim could probably have this done within 60 days to see where we're at today, and then just interface the next round of testing into his report. He's a licensed geologist, a certified water right examiner. I think he's on Zoom with us this morning. I think it makes total sense to have him do it. And that's why Julie is talking about the $50,000. If you hire somebody outside to come in and do that report, it'll probably cost you 2 or 3 times that. He already has spent a lot of time and energy on this for us folks. It just makes sense to find $50,000 for him to bring that. You're going to have that report. We're all going to have that report. And I think it just behooves the county to step up and help with that. There's a way to do it.
And it will be that second set of eyes' decision.
But if you're going to hire somebody from that, Jim is a local person. He understands the local geology, the local water. He helps manage the city water system, the city wells. He has an intimate knowledge about everything that's going on here. you're gonna hire somebody from the other side of the mountain that knows nothing about this area. I think that's wrong.
No one's been hired yet, Dick. Be patient. Be
But
patient.
thanks, Nick.
Thank you very
your
much.
comment.
And we take your advice very seriously.
So you haven't hired someone yet?
No,
When will that be disclosed?
we're not sure. You'll be
Question-
the first to know.
Is the question about hiring outside counsel, about hiring a scientist?
Yeah, we're looking at hiring outside counsel.
Yes.
We're not looking at hiring an outside
Scientists at this
scientist.
time.
How-
Outside counsels, we need a second opinion. And that will be their second set of eyes that will determine the course that we take.
Second opinion for?
Second set of eyes.
And John Eisler, that's been doing the work on this, has gone into community development. So we've lost our legal representation and we are going outside to pick up that service. And that's what we're looking at.
Be patient, Dick.
Well, I have a lot of patience, believe it or not. So there is absolutely no way the county would participate or assist the folks in putting together this report.
At this time, no.
Yeah, not at this time.
Thank you, though.
Yep. Next, Adam.
No. Funny how we figured these things out, huh?
It'll be a slow day without you, sir. Thank
But
you.
you still got to tell us your name just in case we forgot. Okay, thank you. I like cowboys.
Adam Mikulski, 3992 Northwest Tehansik.
Okay.
So, we filed a lot of complaints, against Woodward site with the CUP.
Mhm,
And we've got some responses back from Lewis on that,
mhm.
because he talked, he gets the information, goes to Knife River, they provide responses. But I guess what's going to happen after that? Because what I've seen, any kind of response from like Dogami is like, oh, we're going to go to Knife River. They provide us a response and that's good. So from here, and I'm going to talk about two. Yeah, you can go in vector control, weed, they've done that. But an answer like for parking control, when they were parking on the road that they're not supposed to, what it says in the CUP, it comes back that they received a response which detailed that the trucks were waiting for instructions from dispatch. Okay, but they're not supposed to park there anyway. Is that an excuse? And is that something we're going to follow up through the county on that CUP that they actually are not following the CUP? The second one is the dewatering. And the response that they got there was summarizes that the last dewatering on site was from 2020, which was reported to DEQ. What's not in there, and I don't understand, there's three parts to that part of the CUP on the groundwater protection. And there were three complaints for that. One was the site will not be dewatered. Okay, well, they dewatered, they kept that quiet. You can't change that until we reported it and then they got fined. The second said if they do, they will obtain a relevant Dogami and DEQ permit, which they didn't, and they got fined for that. But the third part also was so it says the applicant shall also at its expense and assuming neighbor permission have well water reports performed by an independent expert at the 5 wells other than the applicant's well and any wells in the neighboring HM zone properties nearest to the Woodward site, including 2 to the south on Stehansik, 1 to the west, 1 to the northwest on Puckett, and 1 directly to the north. Such well water report shall serve as a baseline against which possible future changes in water quality can be assessed. That could have been a baseline. A copy of the well report shall be provided by the applicant to the well owner, and they failed to do that. So there's not really an answer on here. Yeah, they gave you, we dewatered, we're fine, but they didn't follow the CUP as it was written. So I guess for me coming back up and talking with you guys, which I'll probably be here next Wednesday too, but
We like seeing you, Adam.
I'll and I'll put a different hat on so I don't look the same all the time.
Okay, perfect.
All right. But anyway, is this the kind of it from the county, or are we working toward any kind of solution on the CUP to actually put some teeth in it? Because everybody, yeah, they're going to plant the trees. Okay, good. But for 8 years, you didn't follow it. And what's out there for us? Or is there anything going to be for us? Because
So-
we're getting tired of writing complaints.
So John, unfortunately, you're our our director, so now this is on you.
Yeah, so some of the complaints were, regarding like the vector control plan, and so that was submitted. It had actually been submitted timely. The weed management plan was submitted, and so these are now in our possession, and we'll keep track of that. The parking issue, my understanding is that was kind of a one-off thing. Or is it
We've
happening
complained over the
consistently?
years, over the years.
No, that's the first time we've gotten
A
got the one
formal
complaint.
complaint.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if that keeps happening, if they keep doing that, keep letting us know, keep sending us in complaints, because that's the only time that we've gotten a complaint about parking. And so the response was that they were waiting for dispatch of this ongoing thing. Then we can reach out to them and make sure that they find a different way to wait for dispatch. Do you want to go through any of the other ones, or?
No, we don't need to, because it's like, so it goes back to what we talked about for the veneer permit. It's like, we showed you all the things they didn't do. We're policing it all the time. It gets kind of old. And so if, it just we're going to keep doing the same thing over. Every time they do something wrong, we're going to contact and okay, they're going to fix it. And when does it finally get to a point where they got to be held accountable for this stuff themselves? They need to police themselves and do a better job at it. Like they said at the veneer hearings, we've done a bad job. Their person actually said that, but we can do better. Well, apparently it's been 2 years and they haven't done anything any better. That's my point.
So we treat Knife River the same way we treat any property owner in the county. We have a voluntary compliance process. So we're going through the same process we do with every other landowner in the county. We're not treating them any differently. We're not giving them favors. We're not being stricter with them than we would be with, say, if someone complained about your property. It seems like they're being held to task a lot more lately. There's not a mining activity going on. So I think from my perspective, it seems like things are improving.
Okay.
As far as their operations go.
Because I have to use it, when you say that, that we hold everybody accountable, and I have a friend of mine that actually, the neighbor called, that they said that their dog was on their property, which it wasn't, and they had pictures, whatever, but they come out and tell this person that you're going to get fined $500. That's what the county will fine you for if your dog's running loose on somebody's property. Of course, she proved that it was wrong. It wasn't even her dog, it was somebody else's dog. So you can hold a citizen for $500, but we don't hold Knife River for anything because they're sorry. Anyway,
Those are
it's just a
different
comment.
county code provisions, and I
Right.
agree with you 100% on that one, Adam.
Okay.
Yes.
Different code provisions.
And I want to, Karen, I got your pictures and I didn't write back to you, but I want you to know that I forwarded them on, and I apologize that I did not write instantly back to you, but I did. And so I was busy, but I'm telling you now that I acknowledge it, and my apologies for not, usually I answer everyone back so they know that I got it. So apologies to you. But anyway, but yes, we feel you.
Okay. And I appreciate you guys being neutral. I mean, explaining that neutral part,
Yes.
because you need to explain that, because
Yes, and we have to be
it's an
neutral.
ethics thing.
And
Yeah.
it is, it really is. And I am in a very, very difficult position, which quite frankly, I'm compromised, I believe, right now. I mean, that's just, and it is ethics. So it's very difficult for us to remain neutral. And I do appreciate each and every one of you taking the time and showing up. And I appreciate, Julie, you going through the budget and doing your research. You have no idea how much I wish I could snap my fingers and make a different outcome, but we're trying. We're trying to the best of our ability to work within the system that we have. And that's, let's say we need a big can of WD-40.
And I appreciate you guys all working. I come out here and I say these things, but I appreciate.
We still like
with
you. We still like you, Adam. Wear a different color hat
Well,
next
there's only
week.
3 people here that do.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Adam. Next comment.
Nobody?
Nobody
Okay.
online? Anyone wish to comment? Well, seeing none, and I guess that will close the main session, and go into executive session. Thank you all for coming.
Yes, thank you. Here's this for you.
Crook County Board of Commissioners will now meet in executive session under ORS 1926602.
Right, the microphone will be okay.
What are you laughing about? Hope I left you something.
Crook County the Crook County Board of Commissioners will now meet in executive session under ORS 1926602H, consulting with counsel concerning the legal rights and duties of a public body with regard to current litigation or litigation likely to be filed. Representatives of the news media and designated staff shall be allowed to attend the executive session. All other members of the audience are asked to leave the room. Representatives of the news media are specifically directed not to report on any deliberations during the executive session, except to state the general subject of the session as previously announced. No decisions may be made in executive session, and at the end of executive sessions, we will return to open session and welcome the audience back into the room. The Crook County Board of Commissioners will now leave executive session under ORS 1926602H, consulting with counsel concerning legal rights and duties of a public body with regard to current litigation or litigation likely to be filed. Representatives of the news media and designated staff were allowed to attend the executive session. All other members of the audience were asked to leave the room. Representatives of the news media were specifically directed not to report on any deliberations during the executive session, except to state the general subject of the session as previously announced. No decision was made in executive sessions. We now have returned to open session and welcome the audience back into the room.
Commissioner, I suppose I'd recommend a motion for staff to proceed as directed in executive session.
So moved.
Second, motion been made and second to direct staff to move in the direction.
Oh.
Discussion.
No discussion.
All in favor, say aye.
From Rick, I.
Barney, aye.
Okay.
Yes.
Good.
Is that it? We're done.
Good.
Adjourn.